Get me the smoothie with the spirulina in it, and then you got your protein needs covered.
Wow. Because I think that's a lot of people that are vegan or vegetarian, that they, you see them and they just don't really look healthy. Like, I don't know if they're always getting the right amounts of protein and...
We call it carbo coma. Starchaholism. You got to be really careful. If you're a vegetarian, you need to be more careful, more aware about your diet, because there are certain things that you might be missing. Actually, today, any diet you're on, you got to be careful because the food is so poor quality. Mm-hmm. And if you pay attention and you look at some of the cutting edge of, say, what's going on with raw food nutrition, you can glean certain pieces of it for yourself. For example, vegetable juice. Come on. You want to get to A to B as quick as possible from like where you are to total rejuvenation. Vegetable juice is part of the program. Absolutely. Another part of the program is superfoods. These are things like bee pollen, goji berry, spirulina, that kind of stuff. Cacao, my favorite thing, the raw chocolate nuts. Because those are so densely packed with nutrition and protein that you're going to get, it's kind of like the super herbs of Chinese medicine, like ginseng. You get so much in one little bit that you're like, whoa, what's going on? Then that's an important part of nutrition. You can glean that out. And then sea vegetables is another thing you can pull out of this talk that we're having. Because where are you going to get a wild food, and where are you going to get a food that's not been domesticated or handled too much by human hands? You're not anywhere except for seaweed that you can get at your health food store. And you can make your little nori wraps or your rolls and whatever. And
so that's not
salad.
Toasted then? Some
right,
of it
you can get dulse, kelp, nori, hijiki, wakame, sea lettuce, all raw.
Okay.
A lot more than that even. Yeah.
Wow.
And good quality here in Canada. Yeah.
Great. I heard another benefit of eating that kind of stuff from the ocean is that because it's in the ocean where the sea salt is, it absorbs like nutrients or minerals that you're not going to get in food that's grown on farms.
That's the other point. That is so right on. The mineral content of seaweed is always what it always has been. So it's usually, with kelp, for example, 50 to 60 different minerals. You will not find a food on anybody's kitchen table anywhere, any time of the year that has 50 or 60 minerals in it. Doesn't exist. Why? Because the food's depleted. So where can you get that naturally?
Because the land's depleted.
Yeah, the land. It's not been farmed properly.
Right.
If you go to like France, you can see like, whoa, the soil's still oily. They knew how to farm, and they knew how to farm so they wouldn't deplete their soils. We kind of, I don't know, we were just literally out to lunch, literally, metaphorically, everything. So we have to kind of go through this crisis that we're going through with our food in order to figure out how to do it right. And we're figuring it out, and we are doing it right, and it's happening. It's just a step-by-step process.
Mm-hmm. Well, I noticed that Toronto Sprouts, and it's not called Super Sprouts anymore, which I was a little surprised. And she showed me back in her, I don't know what even she called it, the warehouse where they're growing all of their sprouts and all that stuff. It's like, well, that's impressive. Like, it's impressive when people, go to that length to do that kind of stuff. I mean, I wish I could be that. I kind of, rely on the restaurants too, because it's so much work.
Yeah, it depends. I'm so far into this. It's like, I'm literally raw-tarded, is what we say.
Okay.
It's like I don't know how to clean a pan of grease. I mean, I wouldn't know any, you know what I mean? So I'm kind of on the other side of the equation where people say, like, well, it's tough to be a raw foodist, and I'm kind of like, no, it's tough to be whatever you're doing. I mean, I don't know how you're doing that. So it's just a perspective, ultimately, and we just got to piece together what's right for us. So, if you're listening to this right now, make sure you're eating organic food. Make sure you're having a salad a day. If you can get a vegetable juice in your diet, great. Seaweeds in your diet, great. Quote-unquote superfoods in your diet, great. And then just let the chips fall where they may. You'll see what will happen, and then you just take it from there.
Now, I know Brad is really big on doing vegetable juices, and could you maybe suggest a good vegetable juice for him to partake in? I know he likes to put cayenne pepper in there, and it does give it quite the kick.
It does,
yeah.
Absolutely. I have a friend of mine, he puts like a half of a shot of vodka in his vegetable juice, and whoa.
And do you recommend that? Is there a good organic vodka?
There are organic vodkas, yeah.
Are they raw, too?
They're definitely not raw.
Yeah.
But, if you want that stuff delivered into your skin in 5 seconds,
right?
Because the alcohol delivers and drives all that stuff in. These are like little tricks to make it fun for yourself. If you're in the middle of the winter and you're like, hey, I'd like to have something that's going to warm me up. Well, hey, make a vegetable juice, put a half a shot of vodka in there, and down that, and you'll see what'll happen.
And you've heard that from David Wolfe.
It's funny, yeah.
I want to know what else I can put in my vegetable juice now.
I'm sorry. I was doing this consultation one time, and this guy calls up and he says, my brother's dying. You got to give me a vegetable juice I can give him. So I give him this 15 vegetable list of stuff and do it in this way, that. Well, I didn't realize the guy had never had vegetable juice before.
Right.
So the brother throws up and he calls me up yelling, just going, my brother threw up on the drink you gave me. And I was like, well, that's what you wanted. He said, my brother's never had vegetable juice before. And I was I was crushed. But then I realized, okay, if you're a beginner, start with simple stuff. Celery juice. Just put celery in there, celery apple. But if you're more advanced, you go move away from the sweet and you move more to the green. So you would do something like celery, lemon, parsley, cucumber. You move that direction more. Celery, lemon, parsley, cucumber, kale. Celery, lemon, parsley, cucumber, kale, apple. Those kinds of little fun things like that. And you can complexify it from there, but generally people who do a lot of vegetable juice over a period of time will move more towards green juices, because that's really what you want. In fact, for those of you listening who understand the acid-alkaline balance, the number one alkaline food is vegetables. That's the deal. And number 2 is herbs.
Right.
So if you eat those, you'll be alkaline.
Now, you didn't mention carrots at all, and carrots seem to be a staple when it comes to people who are doing juices.
Carrots are great. Carrots are a root vegetable, so they do get kind of a nice pass for wintertime, because root vegetables are more what you have in the winter. However, the thing that ends up happening is people go from whatever they were doing before, let's say it was like soda, then they go on to carrot, and what ends up happening is they don't put the other stuff in there, so they get sugared out. And so we got to be a little bit careful about the sugar content of carrots in that form when you make a juice out of it. Now, if you're a cyclist, for example, let's say you're recycling and you're burning up that sugar immediately, that's cool, you'll burn it up. But not everyone's in that situation. Some people are at a desk job.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, hey, I got to have something that's going to keep me bright and cheery, but I can't have all the sugar racing through my veins because I can't burn it off. And in that case, you would do something like just a celery juice or celery lemon, or it's celery, lemon, and a little bit of apple, which, by the way, tastes exactly like iced tea.
Really?
Yeah, it's incredible.
Huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, ginger is something, and garlic, I like to put those in.
Oh, yeah. I had this, listen to this. I had this girlfriend in 8th grade, 9th grade too. She was just beautiful. Most pretty girl in the school, the first girl I ever called on the phone, the whole thing. After 9th grade, I never saw her again until I was 24. I was in an airport in San Diego, California, and she walked by, and I said, hey, Michelle. And it was her. And we had this great reconnection. We went and saw Pulp Fiction together. Things were looking good. Then I went to my cousin's house and we did garlic juice. And I had a date that night with her. That was the last date we ever had.
So, if everybody had garlic juice, this wouldn't be a problem.
Right on. So we got to help me with that goal.
He puts it all in the juice. So he does ginger and garlic.
I love it. I mean, the thing is, that day, too, the day that happened, it wasn't just garlic in there. I mean, we were throwing whole bulbs of 40, 60 cloves of garlic in there. Me and my cousin split 80 ounces of juice each. It was every vegetable and then that much garlic. And where it's so, even then it's so hot, you're drinking it and you're like, whoa, that's full garlic flavor. And by the time I got up to the date, it was coming through my pores. I was doomed. I was so devastated by that story that for years I never even consciously thought about it.
Aw, what did you go see? Because that would have been brutal.
No, what happened was we went to her house and we were kind of we were kind of making out, and then that was kind of the end of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand.
You should have told her it was good for her. She was getting the garlic secondhand.
Yeah, I mean, at least I was cleared of parasites.
There you go. I'm sure that's what she was worried about, yes. Parasites, yuck. Oh, that's funny.
Okay.
So, yeah, I love all that stuff. Even, I'll tell you a great little tip to throw in your juice is burdock root. Oh.